Our freedom, our sense of being able to really be at home, to feel at ease, is inextricably all connected. We are all impacted by the suffering that exists in the world. How do we hold that? And how can we come together to find ways to be able to transform it?
My talk is on the question, are we wired for compassion? The field of neuroscience and psychology have been looking into this question for the past couple of decades. And we're actually finding that not only does it seem like we're wired for compassion, but we actually have a bias built in for compassion.
So my talk is on shifting conversations here in the United States about Israelis and Palestinians. Why do we have compassion for the people that we do? And who is missing from those conversations about compassion? Who's not being talked about in a compassionate way? Who's not being presented in an empathetic light? And why is that?
When we talk about the pandemic, what we're actually talking about is the trauma. It's grief. Maybe it's new for us, but not so new for a lot of communities, right? There's a kind of resiliency that I talk about. There's a resiliency, an emotional resiliency that we have to train. And that emotional resiliency is really about connecting to sources of support.
When we can first begin to really sense and feel ourselves as being recipients of care, that really helps us to begin to connect with our own capacities to feel care for others.
Very recently, some researchers at Princeton University actually found that if you think about removing pain or lessening that person's suffering, you actually get reward centers lighting up in your brain. You're hardwired for this, but there are certain things you can do to train it. So my talk will have a sprinkling of different types of practices that you can do and things that you might not be thinking of as compassion training. So going to the homeless shelter, for example, and giving some of your time, that's a compassion training.
I came across a poem in Arabic called Rivers. And it took me a while, and then I realized that's Langston Hughes, written in Arabic. Palestinians everywhere have found a deep resonance with the experiences of Black Americans. So part of my research has been uncovering that history, and I'm excited to share it with the Downtown Lecture Series audience.
If our hearts can't open, we can't transform, we can't evolve, right? And this is both individual work and collective work. When something becomes collective, then we begin to see huge shifts in systems that have perpetually harmed folks. Having an experience of compassion and experience of being cared for is really imperative for many of us right now.